Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Bria Guyton,
And I'm Langston Williams.
and this is Journey to Zion. Here we define what home means within the Black diaspora.
In today's episode, we have a legend who is not sung enough. So, an unsung hero, today we're going to be singing. And we're not only going to be singing a little bit, we're going to hear a little bit about his story. This man is none other than the man, the myth, the legend, John Keller, who is joining us from New Orleans, Louisiana. And he and Bria and I are going to be talking today about Hurricane Katrina and some of the happenings around that time from a first-hand account from one of the heroes of the times. So, with no further ado, we have Mr. John Keller. Would you like to introduce yourself, John?
How you doing? I'm John Keller, live from New Orleans.
Welcome, welcome. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you, Bria.
And we do know that Hurricane Katrina affected us all in different ways. We all felt just coming from the South, we all felt the effects of Hurricane Katrina in our life. But we know that you in particular had a slightly different journey when it comes to Hurricane Katrina. You were very much involved and very much in the mix of all the things that were happening. But as one of the heroes, I wanted to see if you would be willing to tell us some of your story.
Yeah, well, basically, I never evacuated for the storms because at that time I was a contractor carpenter. So I had my tools, and when something happens, you want to be Johnny on the spot. You know, you want to be you want to cut the trees off the houses, board up the houses that the windows broken, put tarps on the roof or whatever. You know, it's like it was the way. Just what we did. That's what contractors do down here when storms hit. But and plus, I stayed in American Can apartments, and that building wasn't going anywhere, man. It's like rock solid. So, and I was off on the second floor, so I wasn't worried about if it got that high, we'd be in trouble all the way to Arkansas. So, basically, the storm hit, man, and I'd never seen it blow like that. I was literally watching people's roofs just being all the shingles being peeled. I mean, every roof in the city had damage. Not one roof did not have damage. So for the first 3 days, man, I watched the city fill up, and I was looking for my mom. When the storm was hitting, I called my mom, and she answered the phone. I said, "Hey, mama." I said, "You okay?" I gotta go. I gotta go. The roof being ripped off, and she hung the phone up. I'm like, God damn. Like, so I looked at Chris and said, "Man, what you gonna do?" I said, "Well, if you go outside right now, you drown standing up on your feet." I mean, the rain was just sideways, blowing at 140 mile an hour. It was blowing, and he said they're gonna be okay. So the next day, man, they had like 4 inches of water on the ground, and all of a sudden, man, I live on the Bayou St. John, and a wall of water just started coming down the bayou and then jumped the banks, man, and start pushing cars down the street. And I said, "Man, Chris, go get the camera. Look at this." So we started videotaping, what was going on there, and it was rising a foot an hour. That's how fast it was filling up. And by the end of the day, when we went to sleep, the when we went inside at nighttime, when night came, it was up to like above the door. Man, the next morning we woke up, man. I mean, every car was underwater. Like you just barely see the rooftops. And you saw all the oil, and I live right by the bayou, so we had that wildlife. We got alligators and snakes and fish are swimming through the lobby, just some bizarre stuff you never see that you never see before. That's my dog walking behind me. I didn't know what that was. But basically, man, I wasn't trying to save anybody for the first few days until I went door to door. And I didn't know we had that many elderly people living in the building because, like, they're not by the pool, they're not in the gym, they're not by the barbecue grills and stuff. They're in their house in their wheelchairs. And to be honest, like going door to door, I'm like, man, it was like 60 elderly, and they had no elevators or nothing. Uh, the second day, I took a kayak that was chained underneath the steps, the stairwell, and I paddled 9 miles from Mid City to New Orleans East looking for my mom, my grandmother, my aunt, and paddled all the way out there, man. Didn't see him, and the water was up to the roof, the rooftop. I mean, to the gutter cans. I am talking about 10, 15 feet deep.
How long did it take you to get over there to the east by boat?
6 hours. Took me 2 hours to get back though, because I was paddling against the current. It kicked my ass too. I wasn't in kayak 9 mile shape at that moment. I mean, I wasn't in bad shape, but man, I didn't even have a paddle, so I had to take my plaque that I got from when I was in recon. They give you a paddle, and I had to take all the medals off of it, man, and all the ribbons, and put it in the water. And that was my paddle. It's about 3 feet tall, and I had never been in a kayak before either. And I'm 6'7", so my center of gravity is not. Man, I must have fell out that damn boat 100 times.
Mind you, in the water with the alligators and the snakes, as you said earlier, yes?
Not for long, though. Yep, I got right back on the boat.
Don't blame you.
And when I paddled to New Orleans East, I went through I went from Mid City to the 7th Ward, 8th Ward, 9th Ward, and when I got to like Poland Avenue, and I was able to look and see where the breach was, and I saw 30 people living, 30 people in a tree, man. 30 people in one tree. I was like, man, in the ninth ward, they really have that wildlife out there. Because they got shaman. That ninth ward is like by a swamp. And when you got dead bodies in the water, all the wildlife moves in. So I did when I didn't find my mom, I came home, and then they gave me a good view of the scope of how bad we were in trouble. I mean, I'm telling you, like it was like me being in the military. I just think that they treated the people of New Orleans, the citizens of this country, like second-class citizens. Like we weren't even citizens. Like you don't call us refugees. Refugees don't have social security numbers. You know what I'm saying? It's like and then you look at, like I have a documentary that's on right now. It's called Katrina Race Against Time. It's a 4-part miniseries on Nat Geo, Hulu, and Disney Plus. And when I couldn't watch it. I couldn't watch it. Like I saw it through my perspective. And I didn't have it that bad when I looked at that documentary. I was doing pretty good. Now I could hold my stuff down, but when I saw the people that were at the convention center, and they said that people were shooting at helicopters, they don't have not one bullet on the helicopter. And we could shoot down here. They said that they were, and it just gave the city a black eye. And they wanted to they always want to make it look like black people are going to do all this horrible stuff. Like for 400 years, they've been saying we're going to do stuff. And all the stuff they say we're going to do, they've been doing. Okay. And, it's like I'm not racist, but I don't see how anybody of color on this planet is not racist. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. From what I'm looking at, it's just blatant in your face. They don't care, and the people, the powers that be, they don't care, man. They don't care. And it was like after going to Iraq, man, and taking part in killing all those people for this country, and you come back and they won't give me food and water on the roof because I'm black. Man, what else do black people have to prove that we are Americans? When I go out the country, they don't call me African American. I'm American. They only call me African American in this country. That's kind of like the American dream. You got to be foreign to have the American dream. You know, because we know it's it's a nightmare. Like it's kind of like crazy when you buy property in this country. Yeah, your property is on the state's land. If you don't pay your taxes, they come take your crap. So it really is not yours. You paying somebody for like it's like a trap. Like when you own something, you go through what the land goes through. So it's the the politics that be, man. I hope that nobody ever has to go, and I doubt it will happen again. Has to go through what we went through, and now they're trying to get rid of FEMA. And FEMA sucked back then, but at least they had FEMA. If they don't have anything, what you gonna do? Like so. I wound up, man, rescuing with 12 other guys that helped me. 244 elderly and kids and people off the building.
This was
And,
all from the American Can.
huh?
This was all from the American Can.
Yeah. Well, everybody was coming to the American Can because it was high. It was high. Like you gotta. If it's 10 feet and you got a single story house, where you gonna sleep? On the roof? So everybody migrated their way that they could to the can company, and we started off with 170 people in the building, and we wound up having 400. And the people who were able-bodied, were able to get out of it, they just left. And the old people, they couldn't leave. Like we had to carry them to the roof, or like once I figured out how I was gonna do this, I had to hotwire boats. Um, I had to hotwire a truck, 2 boats, and I would shuttle the people to where I talked to the military. And when I went to the military helicopters landing on a strip of land by the bayou, I went in and I said, "Hey, man, my name is Keller. I'm from First Recon. What are your orders?" He said, "Our orders are to rescue the people from the hospitals and the hotel." I said, "Well, what about the citizens?" He said, "We didn't get that order." I said, "What?" He said, "Look, man, that sounds crazy to me, but I have my orders." I said, "Well, you're not from here." I said, "I got a building full of elderly, and they got one more thing." And I said, "You don't know who's uh, from the hospitals or hotels." I said, "If I get them here, you get them out here. You would get them out." He said, "I didn't hear that. But if you get them here, I'll get them out." I said, "They'll be here." That's when I went and hotwired the boats. I swam the road. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's
I'm
all
good. Take your
good. Take
time.
your time, please.
In the grocery store, I filled 9 ice chests up with peanut butter, beef jerky, batteries, candles, tuna fish, whatever I could get put in the ice chest. And I went in the hallway and got some rope, tied all the ice chests were floating in the front of the supermarket. They sell them that. And I tied all of them together. And I swam back to the building. It was about 4 blocks away. And I gave 8 ice chests to the people that were living in the hallways that weren't from the building. Put ice chests on each floor. because they didn't have anything, and I kept one for myself. And that's when I started shelling the people to talk to the military. They still were reading, the helicopters still reading the signs on the roof. I spray painted on the roof. And military acronyms, DRP, drop, MREs, food, H2O, water, count how many people we had in the building, so the number, how much to drive. And they didn't come and offer help until I took all the black people off the roof and put the white people on the roof. And 15 minutes later, they gave me whatever I needed. It's horrible.
I was
I
just
was
about to
hoping
ask how long did it take them to actually respond and drop stuff.
15, I got the timestamp on the video recorder. 15 minutes, man. I didn't believe it. I was hoping I was wrong, but I just seen them rescue the white people in a building in Pell Hughes behind our building on Wednesday. And here this is Friday. And like the guy at Pell Hughes says, you know what, John, I have to disagree with you. I said, what you say, man? He says, I don't think it was racist. I said, because you got rescued on Wednesday. That's why you don't think it was racist. Okay? So I don't want to hear that. Like everybody, like they got a helicopter pilot that's on that documentary. She tried to reach out to me saying that she didn't like her helicopter. They were helping people. That's one helicopter. And I appreciate everything she did. I mean, I appreciate it. And I'm sure it was a monumental effort to deal with that. But you one helicopter. It was a Coast Guard helicopter. National Guard helicopters. I watched them fly around at 1,000 feet. They weren't rescuing anybody for 3 days, just flying around, looking at people soaking in the water, sitting on their rooftops. I don't know if you've ever been on a roof. You know how hot a roof gets?
Very.
It was
Especially
90
that time of year in August in the South.
New Orleans, it was
Yeah.
90% humidity. Man, so it just changed my perspective on the government and the country, and like even with that COVID stuff we had, Americans don't care about their fellow Americans. They care about themselves. They care about themselves. They could give a damn about their neighbors. Like I heard one guy said, "Oh, they've been making us wear a mask. Now I know what slavery must have been like." If you think slavery was like wearing a mask, son, when I heard that, I'm like, man, where does he live? I got to go see him.
Got it great
How much
mistake.
slavery like?
Terribly uneducated.
Man, it's killing me. But I remember getting to the roof, and I said, first thing I heard when I got to the roof, I opened the door, walked out, and I heard somebody say, "That white bitch used to keep my name on her mouth. I'm a killer." And I'm like, and the lady ran over to me, and she said, "John, I'm scared." I said, "I'd be scared too." She's like, "Why?" I said, "Because these black boys don't like white folks. It ain't white boy day up here." I said, and they mad. And he shooting his gun on the roof and shit. Man, it was just crazy. And then I went back to some of the people that was standing on the wall that were able-bodied, and I said, "Hey, man, we need to stop this," because they had some people who came to the building. They was getting their loot on, like they wanted to get the wedding rings from the old people and push them out the wheelchair. Man, it was horrible. And when I went to the black guys out with me, I said, "Hey, man, we got to stop. We got to stop this." And what I'm saying, man, they messing with the old white people. I said, first of all, my grandma white. What that got to do with it? I said, second of all, how can you watch them youngsters beat them old people up? I said, so what? Now since they here, you gonna be sitting down? I said, they can't have my shit. And I told Chris, I said, man, go get my pistol. He said, "What you gonna do?" I said, "I'm gonna go talk to these boys on the roof that's acting an ass, and I'm gonna try to talk some sense into them." He said, "Well, they got guns." I said, "That's why I told you go get the gun." And he's like, "What you gonna do?" I said, "Hopefully, I don't have to shoot them in their mouth and throw them off this building in front of y'all." I said, "But that's where I'm at." I said, "Because I'm not gonna be worrying about walking around my house. This is our house here. This is where we live." I said, "The white people in the building might not spoke to you before, but they never did you anything. They ain't got to speak to you. They didn't do you anything." I said, "But I can't watch this anymore." So I went and took control of that shit and nipped that in the bud. And at that point, the next phrase took the helicopter after they landed on the roof, two wheels on the edge of the building, and asked us what was going on. That's after I put the white people on the roof. They flew away, came back 15 minutes later, dropped supplies, and dude told me tomorrow morning, have everybody on the roof at 5 in the morning, and we'll get them out of here. I said, "Okay, they'll be here." So at 4 in the morning, I went and got my big boys, and we went and carried all the people in wheelchairs to the roof. Okay, and the Black Hawk helicopter was too big to land on the roof, so the little orange Coast Guard helicopter landed on the roof, and they were getting rid of. They were only able to pick up 6 people at a time inside the helicopter, and the wheels. I was looking, and the helicopter started sinking to the roof. And I started screaming at the guy. I said, "Man, the helicopter's going to the roof." Like the wheels started like so. They lifted up. Now they have to drop that basket one at a time. We were getting rid of 6 people an hour, and we had 244 people. And I told Chris, I said, "Man, this is not going to work. I got to do something else." That's when I went and hot-wired the boats. Like before that, I was going around in the kayak. But I hot-wired the boats, and the police uh, rescued. They brought the police from the American Can to Claiborne, the overpass on Claiborne in Orleans, and they had taken some cars from Sewell Cadillac, and they were going to Houston. And when I came back and trying to take the boat, some guys were trying to take the boat from me. That didn't work. And I, as I was coming back and was looking at what was going on in the city, at nighttime, you could hear gunfire like war zone all night long. And come to find out, man, it's the police. It's good old boys was getting banding together, man, and shooting black folks. Shooting black folks, man.
This was at the Superdome, or this was Claiborne? Where was this at?
Algiers Point. Like they got this. It's like a skeleton with a helmet on his head with spikes, and it says "Defend NOLA." That's that racist shit from across the river, from Algiers Point, where all the white guys was like, yeah, it was like, you'll see, man, watch the documentary. They're standing out there, and one of those people got arrested. But he's like, it was like opening day and pheasant hunting season. Like a turkey, man, just white dude, no teeth in their mouth and shit. Like, yeah, we just had to take care. We just had to look out for our own shit. And they were like, it was horrible, bro.
Being shot, actually even looting or anything, or were they just
Huh?
existing? The people
No,
being shot.
just shooting. They said it was martial law, and that nobody, the mayor can't declare martial law, but they were like, it's martial law. You're out after night, after sunset, you get shot, and they meant that shit too, man. They meant that, and it's like when you go through that, like I didn't think like Iraq affected me. That shit set me back 20 years. That shit still bothers me. But I was never trapped in New Orleans for Katrina. I could have got the fuck out whenever I wanted to get out. Me and I put my little girl's min pin, a little dog. I just sat it on my chest, put my fins on, my scuba fins, and kicked my way out this bitch till I could walk out. And that would have been no problem. But I knew I could get everybody out. And I'd be cursed if I didn't help those people. If I didn't help the people, I'd be cursed. No, I didn't know why I survived Iraq, but I needed Katrina because I know why I didn't die in Iraq. Because I was supposed to be in that building to help all them people. If I wouldn't have had Katrina, I still would be lost. I still would be lost. Like, when you out in Iraq and you don't have a bath for like a month in 129-degree weather, you know, like at one point I think we didn't eat for like 2-3 days before they didn't have water for a day or so. The water was 129 degrees in your canteen. I don't drink my coffee that hot. And then when you come back from that environment to here, everybody's pussies. They whine, they cry about they got first world problems. They don't know what problems are. The Americans are just lazy and out of touch, man. We are out of touch. This country making with the laws that Trump is passing. I don't care what your political affiliation is, but how do you keep any or have any faith in politicians, Republican or Democrat? They fighting over spending our money like it's their money. And
Having lived through
like
Katrina, I'm sure you have a lot of opinions on Ray Nagin and just all the people in power at the time.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. It's like everybody want to point the finger at the other side. Man, y'all all suck. It's like when I remember the Black Lives Matter movement. I went to a town hall meeting, and the police were like, "Well, the problem is we got a lot of good officers out here, and the good officers are suffering for the bad officers." And I said, "No, y'all don't." I said, "All y'all are bad." I said, "Y'all want the community to rat out the drug dealers and the killers and criminals and shit, but they get right out of jail, and y'all not there to protect the people who tried to get them off the street." I said, just like y'all know who the bad cops are. If y'all had got rid of the bad cops, you wouldn't be in this boat right now. So I don't want to hear that. Y'all all guilty. So shut up with that bullshit that they got good cops. Man, no. If you're going to live and you're going to enforce the law, you need to live to a higher standard. If you're going to be the president, you have to maintain your composure. You can't act like a little Jenny woman when you get your feelings hurt. You're supposed to keep a poker face. If you might, if I can't follow somebody I'm smarter than. It's kind of hard to do that. But man, like with that Katrina shit, man, it's like no matter what they say about black folks, the message I have to like the young kids, it don't matter what they say you are. You stay true to who you are. Like just because they racist and they fucked up, that's them. But don't make them change who you are. Because at that point, you condescending down to their level. You dumbing yourself down. Like they always point the finger in anybody who don't look like I got a saying. Dark meat eat dark meat, or dark meat eats white meat. White meat eats dark meat, but white meat don't eat white meat. You understand what I'm saying?
I like the analogy.
White meat don't eat white meat.
I do have a question though. So once they started the evacuations from the roof, and once you actually started the process of taking people out by boat, how long did that whole process take to actually get everyone evacuated?
About 12 hours.
Oh, so it all happened in one day. And I guess another question for those that just might be curious. So the first floor, I imagine, was almost completely flooded because you had said the water was up to.
Well, the building's raised up, so it would have been completely flooded if it wasn't raised up. It was on pier, like I'm saying, the parking garage is
Yeah,
about 5 feet above ground,
right.
like above the street. So you drive up a ramp into the garage, and all the apartments are on that level. So you got about a 5 foot um, ground clearance from the ground to the first story, where it starts, the bottom of the first story. So it was up to my kneecaps.
On the first floor.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
and
So
in the back of the bit, like before they fixed the breach in the levee, we would have high tide, low tide at night. Like it would rise 2, 3 feet, and in the morning the tide would go out and it dropped down. You see the wet mark, how high the tide rose. It was crucial, especially if you couldn't swim. And if you could swim, you don't know what you're swimming into.
I can imagine. So
Yeah,
I imagine first you had to get all the people off the first floor to the higher floors.
but that was on them. Like I wasn't trying to save nobody in the beginning, man.
I
And
get it.
the only reason I did when I went doing saw them elderly people. My grandma was on somebody's roof. So I said to God, I said, look, if I save these people, make sure you appoint somebody to take care of my grandmother because she's on somebody's roof. I've been stinking all the time. When I saw the people being treated on the elderly people, how they were being treated, I kept thinking, what's happening to my mom and my grandmother and my aunt? What's going on with that? I didn't know where they were at. And that's what made me stay, man. Like, look, I'm gonna be honest, if my family would have been with me, then people would have been in trouble. I hot wired the boat and we'd have got out. I'd have been out. But my family wasn't with me, luckily, for all those people in the building. So I'm being honest. Like, I did not want to put the souls of 244 people on my back. Because if one of them would have died, that's all I would have remembered.
Well, you have 400 people who are thankful to be alive,
Very much
very much
so.
because of you. So
Yeah, I guess. But, for all them racist people I saved, they got to live for the rest of their life knowing a black man saved their life. Like, I had a director tell me, he said, John, he said, when I found out when I heard the story and I saw it, I saw it on TV and I saw that you were black. He was like, man, what a story. I said, man, and I got pissed. I'm like, man, what me being black got to do with it? He said, oh, I'm not trying to be racist. He said, but the white people left the white people in the building to die, and you didn't.
that's that is something powerful, though. Any one person in that building, or any one person who chose to evacuate from that building, could have decided to stay and make a difference and maybe do something heroic.
They
But it
left.
took you to do that despite everyone else's circumstances and despite your own circumstances. I imagine at this time the building probably doesn't have power, in my imagination.
No power.
Food's running low, and the day that the helicopter started to come, how many days had it been in total since the storm had started?
That was Thursday. Friday, Sunday, the storm hit. Thursday is when the first helicopter landed on that roof. And that's when 15 minutes later, that's when I got to put the white people on the roof. Thursday. We left Friday. Okay, I didn't, we had to carry the people back down the steps in their wheelchairs because we were just trying to get attention. we wasn't getting rescued until the next morning, Friday morning. So I had to, I hadn't hotwired any boats yet on Friday morning. I was swimming. I swam a lady, I swam some Mima, she was about 400 pounds, on an air mattress up the block. And that's when I talked to the military guy, what are your orders? And that's when he told me rescue the hospitals and the hotels. Like I had my kayak, I hadn't hotwired anything, I hadn't told anybody I could hotwire stuff, and until the police came. And when the police came, they needed to get back to Claiborne, and I told them that I could hotwire some boats and get us out of here. I said, but I don't want to get shot in the back while I'm doing it. And he said, let's go. Ain't nobody gonna shoot you in the back. I said, well, let's go. And I'm under the console trying to hotwire the wires together. And I got the cop over my shoulder saying, you sure you can do it? I said, look, man, I ain't never do this with no cop standing over my shoulder while I'm hotwiring some shit. Please give me a second. Then back up. Like that was some strange shit. Like I'm stealing somebody's boat with the cop behind it. And then the cops gave me their guns and their uniform. Told me I'm gonna need this to get out the city.
And they probably
look, you were right.
For one, I said, what you doing? He said, you're gonna need this. We leaving. You're gonna need this to get out the city. I'm like, they really took this bitch over. Like, shit. The police are leaving. We in trouble. We gotta get out of here.
Did you see how things were down at the Superdome? And
I paddled to the Superdome. And they were trying to get me. I was in my kayak. I went around the city. Like, I would go during the beginning of the week, Tuesday, Wednesday. I was paddling around, seeing what was going on. And when I paddled to the Superdome, man, and when you got 30,000 people in a spot with no bathrooms, you don't want to be there. Feel me? You don't want to be there. And when I looked, man, it looked like it was Bayou Classic and they hadn't opened the doors yet. Majority black. I mean, they had some white people in there as well. Like they were, like the whole city. It didn't discriminate like who it affected, but the getting rescued. I'm not saying they really worked their ass off once they started rescuing people. But for the first 3 days, man, like I was in the military, and you mean to tell me that you look at Gaza? They dropping goddamn parachute shit in Gaza, and that's all the way overseas. See what I'm saying? Like they got a helicopter landing pad next to the Superdome, or hooked to the Superdome. You mean to tell me you can't land a helicopter on that shit and give people food and water, baby diapers, tampons, just the basic shit you need? Just horrible, bro. It's horrible. Just the country, it jumps tight when it wants to, when it affects them. But if it's affecting somebody else, they don't give a shit. That's the problem. You're supposed to care about your neighbor. I'm my brother's keeper. You heard Nino. Yeah. I am, man. Like we all gotta pay it forward. I heard so many people in Iraq, man. I said I would do something nice for somebody every day of my life, and I've been holding to that. Like the universal language is pain. When you're applying that squeeze to somebody, you could be speaking Swahili. You have their undivided attention and know exactly what you're talking about. But why do we have to make it painful for people to understand? It should not even have to get to that. People suck, man.
Some people do.
Yeah.
They suck. The masses are asses. I mean, some people are fantastic, but they got more people that suck than they got good people on this planet.
Unfortunately.
We need
the Friday after they actually helped you evacuate, where did they end up taking you guys to?
I drove my boat from Mid-City to Airline and Causeway. And I was dressed up like a cop. I didn't even think about it. And when I got out the car, I got out the boat, started walking up the ramp. The cop asked me, he said, "Hey, where's your ID?" And I gave him my driver's license. He said, "No, where's your badge?" I said, "Man, I'm not a cop." I didn't even know what I was saying at that time. That was the wrong answer. The wrong answer. And I'm telling you, when I said got bum rushed, bum rushed. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, they ain't want to hear what I was saying. I'm like, man, no, the police gave me the guns and uniforms. It was like, yeah, nigga, whatever. Whatever.
I can imagine it's a hard thing for them to believe.
You know? And then a white guy that was with me, he was like, "No, officer." They gave him the guns and uniforms. He rescued everybody. And the cops was like, "What?" I said, "Man, I told you, get the fuck off me." You know? And they unhandcuffed me and shit and let me go. So it was.
And from there, I'm imagining you were able to get a vehicle to finally go look for your mom and grandmother.
I was on I-10 and Causeway, and I wasn't getting on no goddamn bus. I called one of my partners. I said, "Man, this is where we at." He said, "I'm on my way." Came and got us. Went to Laplace, spent the night in Laplace. I went to Baton Rouge, met up with my mom, stayed in Baton Rouge for one night, and the next day I went to San Antonio. And I was in San Antonio for 5 months.
Met up with your mom though. It took some days.
What?
I said you finally met up with your mom though. It took some days though, but
Yeah, man. My mom wasn't worried about me. I was worried about my grandmother. You know, my mama, I asked my mom, I said, "Next time I call you on the phone, don't say the roof's being ripped off and I gotta go and hang the phone up." That was the dumbest shit you've ever told me in my life. You know, like what? But I did meet up with my mom, my grandma, my aunt. They were fine. They were at the hospital um, at Lake, what was it called? Lake, Lakeside? Lake, no, Methodist. That's the Methodist Hospital on Lake Forest Boulevard. And that's the roof that was being ripped off. The roof to the hospital. She didn't say that.
it
You
would have
know,
changed a whole bunch.
I wouldn't have paddled my ass 9 miles to come to our house for one.
I agree.
But well, I appreciate y'all having the platform and giving me the opportunity to let y'all know how it was. And I mean, look, I could go on all day, but you can go to my website. It's www.johncanmankeller.com.
For sure.
And I believe Bria had some questions for you as well.
Well, speaking of the platform, I just want to tell you this. I don't know if Langston ever told you, but one moment. See if this. We have helicopters.
Huh?
We have some helicopters coming over us right now. I'm gonna let them pass before I continue.
I can't hear them, no.
Wait, you can hear me now?
I've been here. I couldn't hear the helicopter.
Oh, okay.
I heard you.
I just wanted to make sure. But yeah, I don't know if Langston told you, I was in the Air National Guard for about 7.5 years.
Okay. There you go.
Um, yeah, from 2016 up until 2023. And
You know what I'm talking about.
I I was called in for Hurricane Ida, and I was in Belle Chase throughout the duration for Hurricane Ida. And I was in Zachary at the time of Hurricane Katrina, so I believe it was a Category 4 by the time it reached me. But experiencing Hurricane Ida was my first time experiencing the vastness and strength of a Category 5 hurricane. And I knew I was safe at the time, but during that time, I was surrounded by my coworkers who were also activated for Hurricane Katrina, and
Right.
hearing their stories. And like I told you earlier about my friend who was 11 at the time, he was with me and he told me his story about experiencing that. And this is before Katrina Babies. This was before, obviously before the documentary for National Geographic. And the information at the time was just doing a real disservice on the truth of what happened during that period. And that was the reason as to that, and seeing Hurricane and seeing Katrina Babies. Those were like the two main reasons as to why I wanted to create something like this.
Right.
I remember it took us at least 2 weeks for them to get power, and we were going from Belle Chase to Devon, and I was driving the Humvees over there, and I remember seeing a whole dead cow lying on the side of the road, and I could only imagine what you had seen. You told me, and it's just being there at the time, experiencing that in 2021. I could only imagine what one has seen without that type of preparation. You know, Ida, Katrina happened so that Ida wasn't, as bad as it was, but still, the fact of the matter is that a lot of people's stories, like Langston has said earlier, was going unsung. And I just wanted to provide the space for you to be able to talk as far as you want to, say whatever you want to, because this affects your mental, and you never had the space to heal from
They
something
won't.
that's more tragic. They were saying that whenever I was in Ida. I remember my chief was telling me this is worse than Afghanistan, and this was Ida. He said he'd rather do Afghanistan, and he was a white man. For context, he was a white man telling me this. You know, so I just wanted to give you the space to say that. I deeply appreciate you being able to tell us this.
Thank you. And I go to Katrina any day before I go back to Iraq. They could keep that shit.
Understood.
Yeah, man, that's the most unforgiving environment I've ever seen in my life. Like,
The question that I have for you is the questions that I have starting off, like, what was New Orleans like before the hurricane for you?
um, it was cool. I was working on a movie called Failure to Launch. I was a carpenter. That's how I got into the business. I was a carpenter. And for Ida, I was ALM for Cherish the Date.
But what was New Orleans like before Hurricane Katrina?
It was not like it is now. It had soul. It had soul. It was about the people. It's like a flavor. New Orleans is a shell of what it used to be for Black folks and for New Orleanians. Like if you were born and raised here now, after Katrina, they changed the laws or whatever. They used to have renter protection. They used to have the property taxes weren't through the roof. When people from out of town came in, bought the block, knocked down houses, put houses on double lots, and increased the property value. So the taxes got higher. So if you were born and raised in New Orleans and you were on a fixed income, you were retired, you can't even afford to live in New Orleans. Like the old people, slowly but surely, they're getting priced out. It's horrible, man. I mean, New Orleans, they used to only when you saw Mardi Gras Indians was on Super Sunday and Mardi Gras. Now you can just pay for Indians to come in. It's like Vegas. It's like that's part of the culture and the reason why they were so special. The Indian tribes were so special. It's because you didn't see them every day. You had certain times when you saw them. It's like Santa Claus and Christmas and shit. You know what I mean? Like, New Orleans was lovely back then. They said the crime was bad. That's because you ain't give don't have enough opportunity. Well, the crime got bad when they knocked down the projects and sent everybody to Section 8 throughout the city. And, you know, It's dangerous if somebody look like a stranger. And you can't come in my neighborhood and do what you were doing in your neighborhood, in my neighborhood. It just was horrible. That's when we was the murder capital of the world. It was Bangladesh out here. But New Orleans is not like it used to be, man. It's horrible. I got a love-hate relationship with this city. I love it, but I hate it. But
I'm sorry.
you good.
Of the people who you rescued, the ones that you kept in touch with, how many of them returned back to the city after the storm?
A lot of them, but a lot of them are dead now. It's 20 years. People old. But a lot of people returned to the city. But then again, a lot of people left. Like I mean, I I like how New Orleans looks. It's all green and water and got water everywhere. I love the environment, but um, it's it's the people. Like I don't like the way they you can't get rid of a certain ethnicity and call it New Orleans. Like New Orleans without black people wouldn't be New Orleans. Like with Hispanics, it wouldn't be New Orleans. Without white people, it wouldn't be New Orleans. You can't take one out. We need all of them. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't. You know. So, man. I I keep questioning myself after going to Iraq. There's got to be more to life than this. There really has to be more to life than this. This can't just be it. There's got to be more to life than this. Because basically all we're doing now, go to work, come home, go to work, come home, go to work, come home, go to work, come home. We existing. We're not living. Like people don't know how to live anymore. Like you don't know it's a moment until it already passes. That's why they call it a moment. People don't live in the moment. They worried about what's gonna happen next week. You might not make it the next week. Worry about what's going on right now. You don't do that anymore. Everybody's in the cell phone. Forget getting a chip put in you. Why put a chip in somebody? They know where you're at.
Yeah.
Now I can open it up, listen to what you're saying, put the camera on, see who you with. GPS, latitude, and longitude. They come get your ass. Why put a chip in somebody when you can't put the cell phone down?
Exactly.
I mean, I just when I worked with Langston, like they are good people. Like you're a good dude. But a lot of people don't have the relationships or even take the time to develop relationships anymore. Everybody's texting and ain't nobody want to talk to nobody. Man, it's just ridiculous. Like they better get ready because the AI is here.
Yeah.
See what New Orleans is like 10 years from now. you know. But Langston, bro, I appreciate reaching out to me, bro.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You need anything from me, you got it.
I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much.
I will say though,
Yes, sir.
you got to leave us with a joke.
Can it be bad?
I hope it's bad.
Oh my gosh.
They had this little boy, and he was in the mall and washing his hands in the bathroom, and a cop walked in. He said, "Hey, man, you a police officer?" He said, "Yeah, I'm a police officer." He said, "Can I try on your hat?" He said, "Sure, kid." So now he's in the mirror acting like he's arresting people and acting like he's a cop. Then a fireman walks in and goes, "Hey, man, you a fireman?" He said, "Yeah, I'm a fireman." He said, "Can I try on your helmet?" He said, "Sure, kid." Now he's putting the visor on the helmet and acting like he's putting out fires and shit in the mirror. Somebody from the Navy walks in. He said, "Hey, man, you a sailor? You in the Navy?" He said, "Yeah, I'm a sailor. I'm in the Navy." He said, "Can I try on your hat?" He said, "Sure, kid." So he's in the mirror with the Navy hat on, saluting and shit. And the Marine walks in and sees him saluting in the mirror. He said, "Hey, man, you a Marine?" He said, "Yeah, I'm a Marine." He said, "Can I try on your hat?" He says, "Fuck no, you little bitch. You can suck my dick." He's on the Navy.
Oh my goodness.
I love it. I love it.
There you go.
Well,
You
thank
got
you
it.
so much, John. It's been a pleasure hearing your story, and we enjoyed being able to give you the space to share it. I still am looking forward to seeing the American Can hit the big screen
I know
one of
that's
these
right.
days.
It's funny you say that. I'm thinking the a TV series.
Oh, that would be much better. I would
I
love that.
think it'd be a lot easier to get
Yeah.
that.
Limited series definitely could be the wave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? They'd be able to tell a little bit more of the story. You ain't got to cram everything. You ain't got to cut everything out and cram it all up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we seeing what's going on, but I did get some notoriety in Baltimore. I work with this organization called Evolve. It's community, serving the community, and putting money where the rubber meets the road, and really taking care of problems and fixing it. And it just so happened that the mayor was watching that documentary and called my boy and said, "Is that your book?" And he's like, "Yes." So that's about it. That helped us out. Now we're gonna be able to probably get some funding and help Baltimore's inner city out. So and then we'll try to get it back here.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Definitely
All
here
right,
for it.
man. Langston, love you, bro.
Love you too. Thank you. Hope work picks up back on set again out there. I know it's been
Yes.
slow.
I think there's only like 12 productions being shot in the country right now. 12.
I can believe it.
Country.
Gosh.
I can believe it. Times have changed for sure.
Yes. It's horrible. But shit, what they said, when it's good, bad is bad.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so
Any
much.
other questions?
No, I think we're.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Thank you.
No problem. Thank
And
you.
how can I see this?
You will be seeing it released very, very soon.
Yeah.
It will be on likely YouTube and a couple of other platforms as well. Make sure you get the link whenever it's done.
Thank you, brother.
No problem.
Ma'am, it's been my pleasure.
Likewise.
If you ever in New Orleans, holler at me. You got my number.
For sure. Will do.
All right,
Look forward
man.
to seeing you again.
All right, baby. Thank you.
Bye.
No problem. Bye.
Don Keller signing off.
So, thank you so much for joining us on yet another episode of Journey to Zion. We hope to see you again soon. Until then, y'all have a good one.
Till next time, guys. Langston Williams out.